Yes, we are.
Hey everybody, aqui é a Educação Canina. Okay, so here tonight we have our very, very, very special guest, my dear Jeff Gellman from Solid Canine Training. I know this is so spectacular that we have him here, so I really want to take the time to thank you. Thank you, Jeff, so much.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Raquel.
You've been such a great inspiration to me throughout the years, and I can't even believe I have you here, but this is awesome. So the reason why I wanted you to come is because, I mean, there's so much to talk about, right? And
Right.
I want to start by having you talk to people a little bit about your beginnings, right? I really want to gear this live show towards the dog training business. I think you're
Yep.
so great at it, and I know a lot of people here struggle with this. Like, how do I make a living as a dog trainer? How do I get to be successful as a dog trainer? Should I start with a dog training center? Should I invest a whole bunch of money on it? So I want you to tell people the beginning process of it. How you started, so the whole thing.
Yeah, well, thank you. So, hello, Brazil. How are you? So this is the thing. So this is it. I think you've got a couple of options. I think no one should quit their day job. So if you've got a passion for dog training and you want to start working dogs, I think it's really risky to just quit your job and like, okay, I'm going to become a dog trainer. Unless you've got a lot of capital in the bank to live off of for the next year, if you want to. But I think by keeping your day job, I think that's really important. If it's a day job, keeping your job, I should say, whatever that is. And I think the number one thing is start working dogs. So first of all, we're going to assume that you've got a relatively decent skill set on basic family pet dog training. So you don't need to ever touch aggression. You don't need to do like heavy behavior mod. But most people, at least I know that I talk to, and I talk to people, I do Skypes with folks in Brazil and then in other countries all over the place. And the questions are pretty much all the same. You know, everybody's struggling with sort of the same things. So one of the big things obviously is leash reactivity, separation anxiety. My dog pulls me down. But I think a lot of families just need help with they don't know what to do with their dog in general. Like, how do I set up my house? How do I crate train? I don't know if crates are as popular down there as they are here. Just all the basic commands. So what you should do is start working dogs. So a lot of people, what they're doing is they're doing too much planning and not enough executing. So it's like analysis paralysis. Well, I need to go to 2 more seminars. I need to paint 1 more room. I need to buy 5 more leashes. I need to do all this other stuff. And I'm like, that's all great, but how about working a dog?
Yeah.
So always be working dogs, and I think you should do it for free, and you should just be helpful as you can. I think no matter how much you study to be a dog trainer, until you're actually working dogs, you sort of don't know anything.
Yeah.
So that's not to discount formal education, but a lot of it disappears when you're working in the trenches. Like a lot of it disappears. So always be working dogs and then document your work. And then when do you charge? I mean, that's up to you. I think that you could start charging right away if you want to, but I think at the beginning you should probably just try to help as many people as possible. At the beginning, you should work with clients that might not be the perfect clients. We can go into that.
Yep.
But I think now you just need as much dog experience as possible.
I think
so
it's great. Go ahead.
No, you please go ahead.
No, I just wanted to all the people are coming in, saying hi, good night, Jeff and Raquel, hey guys, what's up, Gustavo, Gabriela. Gabriela's been on your podcast all the time. She's saying hi. Julie and Julie from Julie's Canine Academy. Hey, Julie. I think it's awesome that you touched on that because a lot of people here are very insecure, especially in the beginning. They kind of know sometimes that this is not the right family. Maybe I'm pretty sure they're not going to follow through, but I need the money. So talk to me a little bit about that, because I know you heard that a lot from trainers all over the world. And I know this is just not here, but I'm pretty sure people want to hear that from you.
So let's first of all talk about insecurity. So first of all, talk about never care what other dog trainers think of what you're doing. So let's get rid of that right away. So I think a lot of people are always worried about their peers, their dog training community, their fellow dog trainers. Am I good enough? Am I good enough? Who am I to be training other people's dogs? So there's that insecurity. Well, if you can get your neighbor's dog to stop pulling on a leash and they can walk their dog on a leash, well, then you've got value. You've got value. If you know how to stop a dog from barking at the fence, from jumping up on people, from begging for food at the counter, then you've got value. So I think everybody with a knowledge base has value. As far as working with clients that are not going to follow through, the goal is to only work with clients that are the perfect client. So what's the perfect client? The perfect client is one that will be successful. So we have to remember as dog trainers, it's not about what we can do, it's about what we can teach and the owner can follow through with. So I think it's also important that dog trainers make things very simple for pet dog owners. I'm seeing in this industry things are being really complicated and they don't understand, like it's overwhelming. You have to remember your clients have lives. Yep. So one of my clients is a brain surgeon, truly a brain surgeon. He's one of the top 10 brain surgeons in the country. I always use this example. I've got a lot of clients, but I always use him as an example. I assure you, he has a lot of other things in his life and on his mind than the technical aspects of dog training. He just wants his dog to listen to him. And some people will say, well, then he shouldn't have a dog if he doesn't have time. And I'm like, well, hold on. So where does that dog go? Yeah. To the shelter where like more dogs go? It's like, no, he has time, but he just doesn't have his time to study dog training. He's not going to work with dozens or hundreds or thousands of dogs like you are going to work with. So you want to make things simple. The final goal, though, is to only work with clients that will be successful. I think in this industry, though, we feel that we should help everybody that asks and everybody that needs help. I agree. That's why I have free videos. Yep. So if I don't think you're the right fit, watch my free videos and you can train your dog. If some people are like, well, I don't have that money, okay, watch my free videos and you can train your dog. Yes. So that's why you want to document your work. And a lot of folks are surprised that we put out so much free content because then people will go, well, then they won't need to hire you. Okay, that's fine. I help them anyway. So if you truly want to help people, you'll put out lots of free content that will help everybody, that will last forever, by the way. Yep. That people can watch at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. They can watch on your day off. They can watch when you might want to go on a holiday. They can watch anytime they want to. And you're helping them. And they can go back to it and refresh their memory. And then they can show their family members those videos. So you can help everybody. But why would I want to work with a client that isn't going to follow through? Or why do I want to work with a client that doesn't care like I care? So we as dog trainers should never care more than the clients, which always sounds cold and uncaring, but they're not our dogs. Yep. Like, why would I care about your dog's success more than you care about your dog's success? Shouldn't you be the number one person? But at the beginning, work with everybody. Yep. Work with everybody. Because you need the experience and you need the documentation. Yep. So it's like, okay, it wasn't the perfect client, but I got some really good video on how to teach a command, how to stop a behavior. So that might be the trade-off. But if you have got lots of experience and you already have a job and you are doing this as a side business and you don't want the frustration of bad clients, and there are bad clients, let's face it, yep. Then you only work with clients that are the perfect client. And the way you do that is you pre-screen those clients. And there's ways to do that by just talking to them. We personally don't do assessments of dogs because we feel confident that we can handle every dog, but we pre-screen clients. And we do that through a bunch of different ways. And then finally, I do it on the phone. And working with so many people, I can sort of read between the lines. It's like if anyone's ever been to customs before, they ask you the same question 5 times, and they're waiting for you to change your story. Yeah. So it's sort of the same thing with us dog trainers. It's you want to do that. So that's some general tips right there.
Let me show you some love. There's a whole bunch of people nice here. Julie said we were watching. Thank you, Julie. Julie and Josh are going to be here soon. Julie,
are they?
Yeah, I talked to Julie and Josh. Hopefully we're going to set up a time.
That would be fantastic.
Rafael said hi, Jeff and Raquel. Watch you both. Think you're great. Thank you. He said congrats on your material. Helped me a lot.
Awesome.
João that was here yesterday, I did a live show with him. He said good night. Gustavo said next. He's waiting for me to say next.
Right.
I'm gonna be Joel today and be like next.
That's my line. I have a trademark.
Everybody say Jeff, hey, nice. Joanna said, I feel like in Brazil we still have so much of those kind of clients. Yep, I know how it is.
I think, this is the thing, you mean bad clients?
Yep, she's talking about bad clients.
So I think it's the same as bad boyfriends or girlfriends. They're always going to be out there, but there are good ones out there.
Yep.
It all depends on what you're attracting. So so I think that we have got lots of clients in the United States that won't follow through. We have lots of clients that won't follow through. We have lots of clients that don't agree with our methodology. We have lots of clients that that can't afford our prices. We have lots of clients that won't do the work. It's the same thing here. Just traveling the world, pet dogs are pet dogs are pet dogs, and unless you're talking about a country where they're still treating pet dogs more like livestock, and that's fine, meaning they're outside more, they're dogs, and so those are some of the best behaved dogs you'll ever see, actually.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to a family pet, I think it's universal wherever you go. I think the struggles are still the same. The dog doesn't know what country it's in.
Yep.
The dog doesn't know where it's living. It doesn't know how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't know what your job is. It doesn't know anything. So I think what you want to do is by putting out, you can control who comes in the door. That's another thing is, if you're a dog trainer and you're complaining about your clients, stop. It's your fault. It's your fault. We're in the voluntary transaction business. You didn't have to say yes.
Yeah.
So you said yes. You said you could hire me, or you said I want to work with you. So it's your fault. It's not the client's fault. It's your fault.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that we see all the time is a lot of trainers want to help every single dog owner out there, but then they complain how terrible their clients are, but they forget that they're the ones that let them in the door. So, and it's no different than relationships.
Yep.
People go from bad relationship to bad relationship to bad relationship, but what they're not doing is, there's always the same person in that bad relationship.
Yep.
Them. So it's called 100% responsibility. It's like, take responsibility for the situation. Stop blaming the client. Look towards yourself.
And I think it's awesome that you touched on that, because it's so common here in Brazil. And when I started my YouTube channel 4 years ago, a lot of fellow dog trainers told me, are you crazy? You're going to put all that stuff out. Nobody's going to hire you. And you're going to show all those training tools. Everybody's going to hate you. And I still get people telling me that every once in a while. I have over 700 videos on my YouTube page. I put them all on Instagram, Facebook. And people still ask me, how come you have clients if you're showing everything? I said, I have clients because I show everything.
Right. They forget. I think they forget that. I think, you know, you can watch a video on how to wax your car, for instance, right? Now, I don't want to wax my car.
Yep.
I am not interested. Well, first of all, my car is so old, nobody wants to wax my car. So I think if you wax my car, paint would come off. So you probably don't want to wax it. So, you know, and I'm not talking about my motorhome. That's beautiful. But my car is a wreck. So, but I think this is the thing is like, if I looked up a video on how to wax a car, and I found somebody that had a great how-to video on how to wax my car, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I was like, an hour later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I only like got that much done. I said, I don't want to wax my car.
Yep.
Who do you think I'm going to call to wax my car? Probably the person that put out the free video.
Yeah.
I think that most people, this is what dog trainers have to remember what their true job is. One of their true jobs. You're saving people time.
Yep.
You're buying them time. So, yesterday I had somebody come over here and trim all my hedges. Okay? I own a trimmer. I could have done it myself. Not as good, but good enough. To me, the value of having somebody trim my hedges so I can do something else was worth it to me.
Yeah.
So you can give out as much free stuff as you want. You'll still get business. If anything, you'll get more business. Now, somebody said about showing the tools. Oh, if you show the tools, they're not going to hire you. Now, what I always say about that is, I have a line that says, they're going to say no anyway.
Yep.
So you come to my website, and you see that I use prong collars and electric collars. And you say, I will never use those. I don't want to hire this person. Good.
Yep.
I'm glad you figured that out now before we talked on the phone. Because then the owner saved yourself time, and I didn't have to waste my time. And I'm not going to convince anybody. That's what makes me a little bit different.
Yeah.
Some people will say, no. Wait till you get them on the phone and then convince them.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. Convince them it's good. I don't want to convince you. I'm not interested in convincing you. Here's videos. You see a dog misbehaving, you see a dog behaving well, over and over and over and over again. At some point you're going to say, I want that.
Yep.
And this other stuff isn't working. Let me finally give this guy a call. So remember, it's long game. You have to think long game. So we're not having a sale on pizzas today. Like, we don't need to do the business today.
Yeah.
It's long. So people who've been watching my videos for 2 years finally go, okay, I'm ready to hire you.
Yeah. And it's awesome that I want people here in Brazil to get that perspective, because people seem to think that, in the U.S., everybody's open-minded, everybody works with collars, everybody accepts everything. And I know it's not like that, because I lived in the U.S. for a long time, and I know it's not like that. And here, the thing about the video, it's fairly new here. I think I was one of the first dog trainers here to put out videos for pet dogs using remote collars and prong collars and stuff like that. And everybody's like, oh, this is crazy. I said, no, it's not crazy. This is reality. And
right.
And if people can see this, like you said, it's long term. It happened to me the other day. I had an appointment with a client, and he said, I've been watching your videos for 2 years, but I never said anything. I'm always watching, but I never said anything. So for some people, it takes a long time, but you don't have to waste your time on the phone trying to convince people of anything. Right. It's about choice. You see what I have to do. You see what I do. If you like it, fine. If you don't, it's fine. We don't waste each other's time, right?
And I think it's important that people understand in the United States, I think things are changing a little bit to where most people are realizing that certain things work for certain things don't work for certain things. So, and it's becoming a more accepted. But I was just in Vancouver in Canada, and it's nobody there likes tools.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it is this: in the UK, London specifically, or England, the tools are shunned on. They might be banning them soon, but they're not very well liked. They're hated. I would love to have my business there.
Yeah.
Because everybody's afraid to say they do it because of the pushback. But every week I do 2 or 3 Skypes with people in England.
Yep.
Why? Like, why am I doing Skypes with people in England? Why can't you go to your local dog trainer? The Skype is more expensive to me than hiring a trainer. They can't find anybody.
Yeah.
Now, the trainer might be there, and they might be in the same town, but they're not putting out their work because they're afraid of the pushback, the negativity. They're afraid of the hate. So, I mean, if you want to do great things, people aren't going to like you. Yeah. That's just the way it is.
And it's awesome you said that, because I was having a conversation with a fellow dog trainer, a friend of mine here, and I told him once, I said, look, if you put out videos, you're going to just take an empty spot. It's just exactly like you said. A lot of people work with these tools, they're afraid to say it, and if the spot is empty, it's like, there's a marketplace, here's a spot, nobody wants to take it. If you take it, you'll be number one, because, basically nobody's taking that spot. And you want to take it, you want to own it, you want to take the backlash when it happens, you want to know how to deal with it and move forward. Because a lot of people don't understand. It's really funny, because you want to go on the bandwagon, like everybody's going that way, I want to go that way. Well, you're just going to be, you're not going to be that successful, because you're just following what everybody else is doing instead of just finding your own place, your own spot, and your own voice, and trying to say, look, here's a remote collar, here's how it works, or whatever you want to work with. But just put it out there, right? I love that about you, because when I found you, I started following your videos, and it was so interesting because we don't see that kind of bluntness and rawness. and everybody's like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. And it makes total sense. It's awesome because you find a way to be very personal. And you said something that I love in the beginning. I think being objective and clear and using a language that everybody can understand, because we have to remember, we're not working with dog trainers, we're working with families. And a lot of these families are getting confused. They don't understand all these scientific terms, and all these trainers trying to come up with academic stuff to show to the client. And they don't care. It's just exactly like you said. People just want their problem solved. They want to live a normal life with their dogs. And I love that about you, and I think that is what makes you so different in this industry.
I mean, I think that people are now, even in my industry, I get a lot of backlash now from the balance community, because I talk a lot about high-level corrections on remote collars.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the dog industry are really pushing back on that, and the thing is I think nobody's listening to the narrative, meaning there are absolutely certain times when you're using so nobody asked me on my Q&A show, how do you teach down?
Yep.
So if they did, I would not be yelling and screaming and it would be put it this way, it would be a very boring show.
Yeah.
Because the response would be, okay, be ready to do 350 repetitions. You're going to do this, and then click, and then food, and then and then all of a sudden you layer the remote, and it's all low level. Like I did a live on this the other day, and it was about 30 minutes on how we teach down, and there was nothing about high level corrections, but we were using prong collar, clicker, food, remote collar, all the same tools. But when somebody says to me, how do I stop fence fighting, you use a high-level correction for that. So people have to remember context. They're not listening sometimes to context. So if someone says, just like in my seminars that I do, I always ask for a dog. Do we have a dog that knows down very well, but is selective, like doesn't listen every time, or breaks it, does it but pops up instantly? Someone raises their hand. I said, okay, tell me about your dog. How long is it known down for? 3 years. How many times has it done down? They're like thousands of times. Okay. And it still doesn't listen every time? No, it does not. So I say, okay, bring up your dog. The dog knows down. So then I will say, let me show you how to apply a punisher for the non-compliance of down. In other words, I don't have to teach the dog down.
Yep.
Now, during the seminar, I also teach a dog down, and it's with a food lure, and it's slow, and there's no corrections. And so that's the teaching phase. So what do I say? I'll say down. The dog doesn't do it. So if it has a prong and a leash, I say no. Because I want people to understand what a correction is supposed to look like. No. Correct. Firm. The dog goes, whoop.
Yeah.
If they don't go down, I say down. But usually they go whoosh to the ground. And then I'll say break the dog, come back, say down, woof, the dog downs. So I explain to people, that's how you get a dog who has been selective or stubborn to finally listen after you've already done the hundreds and hundreds of repetitions. So I think things get taken out of context. With me, they do.
Yep.
Because what people are doing is, and I know they're doing this, they want to paint a picture of me as this evil person.
Yep.
So they have to give examples of me being evil. Yeah. And then they have to tell that story. And then it makes it really easy to say, this is who Jeff is, but they're forgetting about all of the other end.
Yeah.
Now, I'm always 100% responsibility. That's my fault. That's my fault, because look at my podcast. All I do is talk about his punishment.
Yep.
So what we'll do is we're probably going to redo all of our how-to videos, and they're going to be really boring, and they're going to be really monotonous. But we'll do it though, because it's like, this is the other side of the story.
Yeah.
This is the other side of the story. But everybody does that. Everybody has those videos.
Yes.
You don't need how to teach down. There's 10,000, 100,000 videos.
Yeah. I can't relate, because when I started doing Q&As, that's all you get. Problem solving questions. How do I stop this? How do I stop that? Nobody's going to ask you, how do I teach down? How do I teach my dog to sit and give me it just doesn't happen. And I can testify to that, because I've been doing Q&As for like 3 years, and every week is the same thing. That's it. So you have to talk about this kind of stuff. There's no other way.
I think teaching people how to apply a punisher properly is part of the job, because there's a wrong way to do it. And number one, people are like, well, I tell my dog, I'll talk to people on the phone, and I say no, and I say bad dog, and I put him in the crates.
Yeah.
That's their definition. I said, the dog will never learn anything from that.
Yeah.
That's not punishment. Or they just say, I scream no.
Yeah.
Like, I don't scream. On my show, I scream. But when I'm training, it's no. And I let the tool scream.
Yeah.
So I stay neutral. The tool screams. So that's I think that's what's really important. That I think with people with social media, just as a consumer of it, we have to always listen to the message and put everything into context. And I think a lot of people take a lot of things out of context.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's why I don't watch the news.
Oh, I don't watch the news either.
You do or you don't?
I haven't for like 8 years, I think.
Either do I. So if you watch the news, you'll think the world is coming to an end.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now, I'm aware of terrible things going on, but I also think it's a wonderful time to be alive right now.
Absolutely, yes.
So I see goodness I see goodness everywhere. I see goodness everywhere. Other people see terrible things everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny because I've been following your work for a long time, and people love you. I mean, you see them, you see the results, you see all these testimonials, and you see the footage of the seminars. Everybody's happy and smiling. Yep. And when I started doing seminars here, and it's funny, this year we have the latest one. There were 11 dogs. It's just a small group, but nobody brings a dog that is just happy-go-lucky and all you're gonna do is just play with it. No, this is like problem-solving seminars. People bring dogs to you because they don't know what to do with it anymore. Right. So punishment is really a taboo. Like here, nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to, construct that narrative that doesn't include words like correction and punishment and all that because they want to sound good. But that's not reality.
No, and I think people they don't like to use the word punishment. They like to, then don't use that word. Use the word correction. Yeah. It doesn't matter what, you could actually call it anything you want, but, punishment is neutral. In other words, it's a word.
Yep.
It's a word. So if you have attached it to this horrific thing, that's on you, not on me.
Yeah.
That's not my problem. So, I'm showing people how to properly do something, and there is a proper way, because I want people to know how to properly stop a behavior, because no dog gets turned into a shelter for not knowing how to sit or down.
Oh, yeah.
So every dog gets turned into a shelter for separation anxiety, jumping, pulling, biting, fence fighting, dog fighting, human, like that. That's why dogs are turned in.
Yep.
Or my dog is too excited. Everybody thinks that their German Shepherd has to live on a farm.
Yep.
Well, we just don't have enough farms in the United States to supply them all. So I think if you're going to put out a message like I do, be prepared for some horrific, like right now there's some horrific things going on around the world as far as the message about me right now. It's really, really terrible out there where my family's been affected. And, that's a little bit different, but it's if you want to do great things, you're not going to make a lot of friends.
Yeah, I know that. I follow all that nonsense, but it does happen here. It does happen here too. And I think the dog training community here, I mean, it's very similar to what happens in the U.S. There's a lot of infighting, people talking about each other and all that, when everybody could be out there producing their own content, putting out their own work, and just don't care about what anybody else is doing. Just do your own stuff. Put out your own material. Show what you do, and the marketplace will decide, right?
Yeah, I usually see sometimes the biggest people that are saying stuff don't have actual videos to help people.
Yep.
So, and then people that are making videos to help people, they're usually not the kind of person that would ever say anything bad. So when I so pretty much being nice always wins. So in other words, I see a lot of stuff. People send me videos all the time. What do you think of this? I say, I won't even open it.
Yeah.
I said, because number one, I'm not going to tell you what I think of it, because I don't know. I don't like, that's ridiculous. Why would I ever do that? Yeah. Why would I ever do that? So I've never commented on other people's videos and other people's content. I don't respond to negative things. Everybody wants to, there's so many people out there that want your help, that why would you want to spend any time mentally, especially dealing with somebody that doesn't like you? Like, who cares? Good. Don't like me. I don't care.
I remember you used to say report Ben and delete.
Yeah.
And I still do it to this day. I mean,
You can
it's
still-
one of the
you-
best
you-
things.
Yeah, it's funny how those buttons still work in Brazil as well as the United States.
You used to say on the Periscope days, you said, report, bend, and delete. Never engage, and this is what it is. It's
Yep.
been like that for the longest time. So, yeah, Julie, yes, Julie next Sunday. Julie and Josh will be here next Sunday, yes, for the live show. Julie said you
So
cannot
Julie,
be...
Julie had to wait until I did it first. That's the problem.
She said you cannot beat Jeff's advice. Yes, absolutely. Joanna said that's true. Everybody said, yeah, that's so true. Oh, there was a question here. Thiago from Brazil. He asked, he said, you're the best. You're the best, Jeff. That's what he said.
I think he said you're the best, Raquel.
He asked, what was the worst dog that you had to work with? I mean, the worst case.
People ask me that all the time, and I'm always troubled because I can't think of an exact dog. But I think dogs that are, it's usually not aggression, it's more fearful, nervous, anxious dogs. Those can be more challenging. Those can be very challenging. Dogs that have got no motivation to work, dogs like that, those can be really challenging. Dogs that have, that don't quite learn, like on the normal learning spectrum, like every day seems to be like we're repeating things. There's no, there might be a genetic learning curve going on, in there. We're seeing more and more dogs like that. I think aggression is more dangerous, obviously, but, not to say we can stop aggression quickly, but I can always put a muzzle on the dog, right? Or we can have a dog not want to bite us, which is important though, but which we have to be careful because that doesn't mean the dog is a safe dog anymore. Yeah. It might be safe with us, but is it safe with the community and the family? And I think one of the things that it's important that we do as dog trainers is being honest with the family and saying, this is your dog's capabilities. This is what your dog has bitten children. I know it just has been trained, but it probably shouldn't be attending your children's birthday party running around, that kind of thing. So I think that's important. If you have a dog that's aggressive towards other dogs, that doesn't mean all of a sudden it can go to a dog park.
Right.
So we have dogs that are around 15 or 20 of our dogs, but it's a controlled environment. So in a way, it's not misleading, but we have to explain that it's controlled.
Right.
Where the dog park is not controlled. So I think we've had so many really challenging dogs. I think
you had that one recently. I remember you and Joel talking about that dog that used to bite the crate, and he
separation anxiety.
Right.
That was probably the most challenging separation anxiety dog we've ever had. Here we go. I think a dog that has got, and this is how important it is to screen and work with clients so much, but I think a dog that has the most dramatic change in behavior when it's not with you and it goes backwards to the bad behavior when it sees its owner so quickly, that sometimes is hard for a trainer to overcome.
Right.
So for instance, we can have a dog that does, because the owner, I think trainers are forgetting how important and, what's the word I'm looking for? Influential the owner is on the dog's behavior. And even if the owner is doing things proper, it's still not enough sometimes. It's still not enough. So those dogs can be really difficult because there's behaviors that come out that don't come out with you, but they'll come out with the owner that you never see. So
yeah, and I want to touch on that a little bit because I think it's one of the questions like that some of the trainers have here. The board and train format that you guys do in the U.S. It's fairly new here in Brazil. It's not very common because it takes a lot to invest in a place and put a place together, get people to work for you and all that stuff. So I know a lot of you guys start working in your own homes, like your board and train is your house, and then you eventually progress to a bigger place. But I want you to talk to me a little bit about the challenges of making that progression in terms of business and what it takes really to run a successful board and train program. Because what you said right now at the end, it's like passing that along to the family. I think this is the key, and I think you do this wonderfully, and I want you to just go a little bit into that so people understand.
I don't think you ever need a training center. I don't think that a training center should be the goal.
Right.
I just don't. I think you can, in a way, you can almost do better out of your house with one or maybe two dogs at a time, because there's trade-offs. The dog is with you 24/7.
Right.
So you can never get away. Well, you can get away, but it's 7 days a week. You don't get a break unless you have some help that comes into your house.
Right.
But I think being able to control the dog's movements, being able to control the bad behavior 24/7, spending the time, including it more into a family environment, that might be of a benefit than having a training center. You're already paying rent at your home, or you own your own home, so you already have so none of your expenses really goes up if you have the dog in your house.
Right.
When you have a training center, it's a whole new set of expenses. So I don't think a lot of people, I tell them, don't make a training center your goal.
Yeah.
Help as many people as possible. So sometimes, here we live in a colder climate, so it's nice to have indoor training in the wintertime. But it's the same thing in a really hot climate, where it's nice to have a cooler climate when it's too hot out. So I think it has its trade-offs. But don't feel as a beginning dog trainer, you have to, in order to be successful, you have to have a training center. You don't.
Yeah. We're going to touch on the employee factor, but I do have a question here from one of the trainers here. Let me see if I can translate it to you, because you probably won't be able to understand it. But what he said is he's a great admirer of your work. He really loves your videos, and he's been watching for a long time. He said it's incredible what you do when so many difficult dogs and in so many complicated situations. Yes, Jeff is awesome. And he said the question is about he said about the pure positive methodology, and how is that transforming dogs into time bombs. He said he said that kind of approach may be masqueraded into some sort of, I don't know, agenda or something. In the end, he's asking if you think there are any cases of dogs that are, unrecoverable or being.
Well, I think the whole thing about we use, I think, probably 90% of our day is pure positive dog training.
Right.
That's how we train commands, but that 10% though is the important part of how to stop things. So I'm not quite sure about, I think it's also it has its limits. We all know that it has its limits.
Right.
So anybody that works with problem dogs knows that there has to be a consequence for a behavior that is not agreeable. As far as what was the second part of the third?
He kind of wanted to know if you also believe that because the market, or at least I know in the US it is too, but the market, the publicity, the mainstream dog training thing it's geared towards just rewards, and not talk about punishment.
Right.
So
Right.
he's asking if he thinks that this is contributing to the society getting more dogs that he considers to be time bombs, because eventually
Right.
nobody's going to be able to help them. And then in the end, he said, do you think there are dogs that are beyond help?
Got it. So, I think it's the same thing in the States. It's the same thing here. I think the message is that you can reward your dog out of any behavior. We have the same struggles here. I think owners are getting a little bit smarter now. As far as like, can a dog not come back? I think any dog that's allowed to practice an unwanted behavior for longer, I think, yes, there's probably a higher chance that it will be harder to change that behavior.
Yeah.
But we have dogs that are 7, 8, 9 years old that have been practicing these behaviors for a long time, and they're having some pretty dramatic changes. And then we've got dogs that are 2 years old that we also struggle with dogs. I think that's something that people have got to understand with that. Most dog trainers, at least we do and our staff does, and it's important that people understand that my staff is doing now at the training center all the training, and I've got a really good staff. If it wasn't for my staff, I couldn't do a lot of this stuff. I couldn't travel. I couldn't
they're incredible. Your staff is incredible.
So, but I think there are dogs that have learning caps. In other words, like I will not be able to play football professionally.
Yeah.
No matter who my coach is, it doesn't matter. I'll never play. I mean, think about the people that have been playing all their life.
Yeah.
They'll never play at a high level. So I think just because you have a good coach, a good teacher, you're using the tools, there are dogs that are not going to be what I think maybe has the same level of expectation that you. So in other words, I meet dogs every day, not in my training center, but out and about. They have no equipment on. They're friendly. They're happy-go-lucky. Now, were they born that way? Did they ever have problems? Were they rehabilitated? A lot of dogs though have they never were allowed to create bad behaviors, so they seem to be doing okay, and they're genetically okay. I think we have to remember that right now, is that, especially in the United States, is we're having a lot of dogs that are not genetically the same as they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So, and we want to keep every dog alive. Yeah. So when you get a rescue that rescues a dog from death row, that's a human and dog aggressive dog, it's like, okay, but who's going to help that dog?
Yeah.
Who's going to help that dog? So, that dog has got limited chance of survival when you've got dogs that are being killed just because there's too many dogs in the shelter.
Yeah. I think you touch on a good point. It's about expectations. So when we talk about dog being beyond help, is where's this dog going to live? Who's that family? What are they going to do? Are they going to be able to manage this dog? So there's a lot of variables, right?
There's a lot of variables, and I think it's important that you discuss the level of expectation with a client before that starts. Now, there are dogs that you don't know how well they'll be until you start working with a dog.
Yeah.
But I think you're better off being some folks they're making promises so the client will hire them, but that's not the most ethical thing to do, because in the end, you're going to possibly not be able to deliver. Now, do we have dogs that fail? What I mean by fail is that we can't get to an acceptable level of safety. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do. And I wish dog trainers were, and if someone says, well, every dog I've ever trained has been successful, I'm like, well, define successful.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you taking really challenging dogs?
Yeah.
And how do you know? So and one of the things is we have chains of pet stores here that offer dog training, which is fine, but I highly doubt they know if they're being successful or not, because the price is so cheap.
Yeah, we have the same stuff here.
People are not going to say this is terrible. They'll say, okay, fine.
Yeah.
$40. I wasted $40 over 5 weeks. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're not going to complain about it, but they don't know. They don't get feedback. But I think when you charge higher prices and you work with more difficult dogs, I think you know. There's a dog, there's always going to be a dog, like we're working with a dog right now, that we don't feel it will be safe going back to the owner's home.
Yeah. It's a tough one, but it does happen.
So, because there's children involved and it's a biting dog, and so we have to have that conversation because there's too many unknown factors.
Yeah.
There's too many unknown factors, and just because the dog can be safe with you, there's always that what if.
Yeah.
What if. So I think transparency is important. Level of expectation is important. I think if you are working with harder dogs, don't work with a dog that's out of your skill set. Make sure you maybe consult with another trainer who has that skill set.
Right.
Because you shouldn't be telling somebody their dog can't be rehabilitated if you've never rehabilitated a dog like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's very complex stuff. Gabriela's on your podcast all the time. She said, speaking as a customer, the free videos show results, and this is the biggest draw for the customers because it is for sure that the person knows how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's important. I think people want to know that people think dog trainers are trying to make it look like there's a bunch of secrets out there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I think probably in like protection sports and agility and the sporting world, but agility is a good example.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about agility.
Nope.
So I don't know, the poles, the weave poles?
Yeah, I've seen one championship once here. I went to watch it, and it's just the whole...
I'm amazed by it. I'm amazed, but that's not what I do. So that's not what I do. So I think that it's important that people also understand it's like when you look for a dog trainer, find someone that is in the same, like if you have an aggressive dog, you shouldn't be going to somebody that does agility, because agility trainers do agility. That's what they do.
Yeah. And
come to me for agility.
Yeah. Yes.
I have no idea. So I stay in my lane, and I just do my own thing. And I also, if I don't know something, I say I don't know. Like housebreaking, I'm not the best one to ask about housebreaking.
Yeah. I hear that all the time.
But there's other people that are really good at it.
Yeah.
They're really good at it. So.
And I think that's a confusion, right? I was reading, Sean made a post on Instagram today talking about that. And it's something that happens here too. A lot of people get confused when they look for advice from sports dog trainers and then pet dog trainers, and the client gets a little bit confused because he wants to apply one thing on top of the other, and everything gets mixed up. So I love that. I stay in my lane too. I sometimes bring into the show people that are from different categories, and I'm here just to learn.
Right.
So it's just a thing that
I think it's so funny because a lot of my clients want to do agility, and they say, well, when I go to agility, they don't like this training equipment. I said, that's okay, take it off.
Yeah.
I said it's their class, they're the teacher.
Sure.
Let them teach the way that they teach, because that's what they do. I think that's what they do. So it's always important. It's always important.
Yeah, we had a question. Carlos said, "Good evening, Raquel and Jeff. Raquel, please don't forget my question. And now we know that you can be an awesome English teacher." Oh my gosh, I can't. I don't think I can. Well, Carlos had sent a question earlier on a YouTube post. I'm gonna summarize it because he posted in Portuguese. What he was saying is that he was asking about the physical touch form of correction. Because he said he heard different things from different trainers. Some people agree to do it. Some people don't agree to do it. And he kind of wanted us to talk about it. I'm going to say for myself, I know how to do it, but this is not something that I do on a daily basis because I don't think that's transferable. I don't think a lot of clients don't know how to do it. And if this is the only option that I bring, most likely they're going to fail. So I'd rather not put it in the play and just come up with something that they can replicate versus me doing it just because I know how.
I think that's a good point. I think, like, for instance, people will every once in a while they'll ask me about like alpha rolling dogs, turning over dogs.
Right.
I've only put a dog on its side to cut its nails.
Yeah.
Or to maybe because I wanted to pet my dog. Do you know what I mean? But or it's already lying down. So I've never done that. I think that's a dangerous thing to teach a client. I think for giving a correction with your hands or your feet, I mean, there are some things that are easy, like to do, but I think we have to be really careful because I think that's more of a skill set than a lot of other things. I think, we have to. I think it's hard to. I think it's hard to definitely for owners to replicate, and it can be dangerous for them to replicate.
Yeah.
But there's also, but I have clients that I'll say, oh, do you know how to do a heel tap? Meaning like, if the dog keeps getting ahead of you, do you know how to just give the dog a little tap with your heel to the chest? That's easy to show, and historically, that's easily transferable if you don't lose your balance. So. But I'd rather rely on, that's why we like tools so much, because a lot of owners can't do that stuff.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And especially because a lot of the times people are looking to fix a whole bunch of stuff with the physical touch, like the dog is barking, physical touch. It's not always going to work like that. And you don't have that level of precision. And tools are so much easier. So why not, right?
Yeah, and I think people also sometimes use anger when they're doing physical touch. So I think we have to be careful about that. And I get angry at my dogs. Every day I'm sure I yell at them for something silly, But I think we have to be careful about being neutral emotionally with the dog.
Yes.
When especially during a correction, it's just learning. We're just telling the dog that was wrong, So, and when we don't have tools, then we have to raise our voice. We have to be more. I think we have to be more physical.
Yep.
I've seen people that don't agree with tools, but if the dog is lunging, they'll grab it by the collar, they'll pull it back, and the dog is up in the air. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty physical. That's pretty physical when you could have just pushed a button and pretty much don't lunge anymore. It's not as simple as that, pushing the button.
Yeah, I got it.
What I mean by that is it's like let's define physical. Yeah. Like let's define that. So it's ironic. A lot of it's very ironic, I think. But then on the other hand, what I do with my personal dogs is maybe different when I do with a client's dog. Yeah. So, and I think we get a lot of owners that will say, oh, my dog was barking, I walked up to it and I smacked it on the snout. Was that wrong? And my first question is, well, did it stop barking?
Yeah.
So, and they'll say, yeah. And I'll say, did it snap at you? No. I say, okay.
Okay.
Well, let's see if it works. But I mean, we're not going to do that at the training center.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it with a client because we have numerous ways to stop barking that don't involve that. But I think owners are so afraid now to be physical with their dogs.
Yeah.
And when I say physical, that doesn't mean like beating up your dog or harming your dog. But I mean, if I'm eating a sandwich and my dog doesn't know to move away from me, or if it doesn't know down, it doesn't know place, and it doesn't know, we teach the word out, which means get out of here.
Yep.
And if it doesn't know any of those things, and an owner says, I'm eating my sandwich, and the dog keeps coming over to me, so I just tapped it on the nose and it moved away, is that okay? I'm like, I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't see what's wrong with that.
I don't see what's wrong.
So, I mean, now, do we do that in a training situation? We don't need to.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we want to use. We'll say the word out. We use the remote collar, or we'll use the leash and move the dog away. So, but in home with you and your personal dog, it's not the worst thing. But I think people are so afraid.
Yeah.
And I think what we've done is people are, oh my gosh, you hit your dog. And I mean, I think that's where bonking gets such a bad thing. It's like,
yeah,
you're hitting the dog, and I'm like,
this is so funny.
It's like, okay,
yeah,
because I mean, I talk about bonking so passionately because we have seen it do incredible things.
Yeah,
and all of the negative things that people keep saying, we're never seeing. But on my show, and if you on your show, you probably recommend bonking too. And yep, there you go. So on my show, if somebody asks me, my dogs are barking in the front window, how do I stop? And they're on Monday's show, and I say, I have a video on how to make a bonker. I have a video on how to use a bonker. You say no. Boom, throw the bonker hard. And on Wednesday's show, they come back and they say, I took your suggestion, and I've tried everything else over 2 years, and nothing else worked but this, the bonker.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but how could it be? How could it be wrong?
Exactly.
How could it be wrong? And owners, they're not illegal.
Yep.
You can afford one. You already have a towel in your house, I imagine.
Yeah.
Like homeless people have towels,
yes.
right? So, it's not illegal, and you don't have to buy it on Amazon. You can get it right now. At 2:00 in the morning, you can make one.
Yes.
So no store has to be open. I think it's important that if we have methods of doing things, the owner knows it. And I think, but everybody's hung up on this. You're hitting the dog. You're hitting the dog, and I'm like, I can't tell you how many times I've thrown a ball. It's hit my dog in the head, and it comes off, and like my dog chases the ball.
And you told a story when Kira went through the RV window, right?
Yeah. So but I think this is the thing, is like, I think we can spin it any way we want to spin it. I think if you want to say that's terrible, you're hitting the dog, if that's the story you want to say, that's fine. You say that. Yeah. I don't care. What I do care about is that it works for us, and also it's working for thousands and thousands of families every day that
Absolutely.
have not been able to do anything else. So, do we train the dog how to down? No, that's not how we train it.
Yeah.
How to stop jumping? Yes. Barking? Yes. Like every bad behavior. Yes.
Yep. It works wonderfully. Gabriella said Jeff is straightforward, like when he says punishment and says you can call it correction, but it's still punishment.
You can call it anything you want.
They said we love your videos, Jeff. Lou said leaving New York City from behavioral consultation and watching you guys in the car. Obrigada, Lou. Thank you. Joanna says so true. Okay, let me see. Oh, Leo said, how can we create leadership with a dog or a group of dogs? Yeah, leadership is a good topic to talk about. Leo has 5 dogs.
So I think.
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's there's a lot of different things. I think being consistent is important. I think if you've got 5 dogs, first of all, you don't have to be 6'5". I know that's you guys do metric, but 6'5".
I got it. So, yeah.
You don't have to be 150 kilos. You don't have to be a male. You don't have to have a deep voice. I think it's more about guidelines and rules and structure and consistency and a routine. I think that's one of the best things to do, and not putting up with any nonsense. I think being able to, if you're going to let your dogs be out of control, which I do when my dogs are swimming or they're running out in the field, but when I immediately say we're done, we're done.
Yeah.
So I think there's many ways to do leadership, but I don't think it's about being mean to your dog or being heavy-handed to your dog. Or I think dogs respond to, and again, also, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, so if I have good energy, my dogs will do better. You know what? You've had anxiety for 5 years. You struggle with depression. I said, I can't help you with all of that right now. And you don't need to get over that to have a well-behaved dog.
Yep.
So this concept that we as humans have to be perfect in order for our dog to be perfect, I think that's a big lie. That's a big lie. Because everybody, all of us as humans we're always going to struggle one way or the other. And a lot of people say, oh, the dog is being nervous because I'm nervous. Not necessarily.
Yep.
Not necessarily. So, we have a lot of dogs that are nervous with us. I'm not nervous.
Yep.
Why is the dog nervous? I'm not nervous. So, I think being a leader is like human leadership. You can be a boss by telling people what to do, and they'll do it because you're the boss, or showing them, guiding them, leading them, being fair, being firm when you need to be firm, loving when you need to be loving, being empathetic, and you can do all those things with your dog as well. I think it's important, and I think structure and routine is probably going to be a big help.
Yep. Absolutely. There's a ton of stuff in terms of leadership, but structure is so super important. Chris says, I'm learning from the best. Some people, guys, I can't really translate everything right now, but I'll see what I can do after the live show. See if I can put some subtitles or something. I'll figure it out. Lou said that is really hard. I think she was talking about the other stuff we're talking earlier. Alan said, thank you, Jeff and Raquel. Oh, Jessica asked a question here. Oh, yeah. She said, here in Brazil, I usually go to public places like parks with my client dogs. One of the major issues I have is random people interacting and not respecting my space. What would you do? What would Jeff do?
So, I think so. If you're in a public park, and first of all, you're in a public park, so it's public.
Yep.
So I think if you're working with a client's dog you're going to have to understand that people are going to want to come up and see what's going on. People like dogs. But if they're intruding on your personal space, that's another thing. But if I'm in a public park, and if I'm standing 3 meters away from you and I'm standing there watching, you really can't tell the person to leave.
Yeah.
It's a public park. I have the same right to be here. But if they're getting into your space, if they're harassing you, if they're trying to talk to you, I think it's important to set a good example for the owner too. You can say, right now I'm working with a client. I really can't answer your questions, right, because I don't want to take away from my client's time. That goes a long way. The client's going to really like that. And I think the client needs help with boundaries. The client needs help with that sort of directness. So I think if you're nice to somebody the first time, they'll usually be nice back. Other people won't. They'll be very rude to you, but that's okay. That's on them. But I think if somebody are they implying that somebody gets into their personal space? Is she implying that somebody gets in their personal space? I think
what she's talking about is when she's training a dog in one of those parks, people try to interact with the dog as well, or coming towards the dog with another dog, all that kind of stuff.
All right, well then you can say that if I was with my dog, I would say, please stay away.
Yep.
My dog doesn't want to meet your dog. So even if I was just with my dog and not even with a client's dog. So with a client's dog, I can absolutely say, excuse me, this dog's not meeting any dogs. We're doing some training.
Yep.
So, and I imagine you have the dogs are on a leash, and you have laws there too
because it really happens all the time, and I've heard a lot of fellow trainers say that here, and it's interesting because we're talking about this insecurity thing, right, or this boundaries issue, whatever it is, but people they feel bad saying no. And Jessica, I'm not sure if this is your case at all, but it happens. When I have sessions with my clients, most of them ask me, how do I say no to people that approach my dog? I said, well, it's your dog.
It's your dog, yeah.
You have the right to say no.
I think a lot of people, the best example is for females, I think, which is most of my clients are females. Most of my audience is females. So I think my clients who will then be a female or a listener, they say, I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
And I say, no, you don't. They say, if I walked up to you and I tried to touch your boobs.
I knew you were going to say that.
Right. I say, I imagine you would say no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So you don't have a hard time saying no because you were taught and raised that it's not acceptable, and actually society says it's not acceptable to do that.
Yeah.
So I think we just have to take the same attitude of you touching me or getting into my personal space physically as, well, the dog is an extension of me.
Yeah.
And the same rules apply with my dog. Yeah. So just because my dog is out in public, that doesn't give you permission to pet it. And just like maybe today on a hot day, if I'm in a bikini and it doesn't give you permission to touch me.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually matter what you're wearing, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to just because you're dressed a certain way doesn't give somebody permission to touch you. Or just because somebody wants to touch you doesn't mean they can touch you. Doesn't mean somebody wants to pet the dog. That doesn't mean they can pet the dog. I hope that sounded the way I wanted.
And I think it's great because it goes around the whole concept of the culture here in Brazil. Everybody's very friendly, and people have a hard time setting boundaries. In every aspect of the way. With people, family, everybody. So when you're out with your dog, people, usually families, they see the dog, they go straight to the dog. Oh, the dog is so nice. And then I've had clients ask me that, well, I don't want to be rude. I said, well, they're being rude already.
Right. So I think you have to
go ahead.
We we have to advocate for our dog. And I personally do think it's rude to assume that you can walk up to somebody's dog and pet it.
Right. Yes, exactly.
I do. Now, if I'm standing, but I also think it's rude for somebody to allow their dog to come up to me. Like, I'm not interested in meeting your dog.
Yeah.
I'm standing here. So that's just as rude. So, but if I wanted to pet a dog and that person let their dog come up to me, well then I think now it's mutual. I could pet your dog.
Yeah.
So, if somebody allowed their dog to come up to me and then I pet it, and if they said don't pet my dog, and I'm like, well, why did you let it come up to me in the first place?
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen as much. I think the big thing is like people have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be rude. But you're not being rude, you're setting boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. That's John said, I can't believe it's Jeff right here. Hello, Mr. Gellman. Okay.
Hey, John. How are you?
It's the man right here. Julie said corrections with dogs really need to be physical. Yep, that's what we were talking about. Carla said, thanks again, Raquel. If possible, ask Jeff if he's aware of the Brooks case and his thoughts about it. I don't know what he's talking about.
So people keep asking me about this, but again, it's a video and it's public, and why would I ever comment on that?
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
So is somebody that is personally attacked every day about my videos, why would I comment on someone else's video? So I think, so I have no, a bunch of people were asking me about it, and I didn't know what they were talking about, so I looked it up and I watched it, and then my response, I responded, I think, on my last show, and I would say, if someone had a camera on you 24 hours a day, and I don't know if that's her case, but let's just use an example of you as a human being.
Right.
If somebody had a camera on you and they took out a day in your life, 30 seconds or a minute in your life, where you did something stupid, and they put that up, like, we all make mistakes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not, this isn't my response to this video, but I think in general, who are we to make comments and pass judgment on other people when we are disrespectful to our spouses, we are disrespectful to people in public, we have lied, we cheat, we steal, we drink too much, we do drugs, we a lot of different things. We're not perfect as humans, but we want to point out everybody else's mistakes.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to participate in that.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in participating in that because, there's a lot of things that I've done throughout the course of my life. I'm 53 now, through the course of my life, that I'm not proud of. And if there was a video out there of me, doing those things, well, that would be probably not very nice. So, we all, the thing is now is everything is videotaped now.
Yeah.
Everything is videotaped now. So I don't make any comments. I'll never make a comment on a video. I'll never make a comment about another trainer. I'll give general philosophy comments and methodology comments, but I know what it feels like to be attacked every day. I won't participate in the attacking.
Yep. That's it. Let's see. Raphael he said he has a huge group of dogs, 3 Malinois, one Rottie, and 2 Jack Russells. There's no formula. Just work on it every day. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Jessica is the girl from the question from the parks. She said we have a lot of trouble with off-leash dogs in the park and bad owners. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So with off-leash dogs, I always advise people to do whatever you can to keep them away from you. So, and if that includes kicking the dog, you kick the dog. So because there's so many owners, there's so many. We're just talking about fire trucks. There's a fire right outside my house.
Oops.
Something's going on. The neighbor. I'm gonna keep looking out the window. I want to make sure it's not like.
It's not in your property, is it?
I don't think so.
Hopefully not.
I think it's the neighbor. I hope it is. Hope it's not us. So anyway, so if I have to go real quick, you'll know that it is.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's important that we stop the dog, because a lot of dogs will attack your dog, and that messes up a lot of things.
Yeah, just make sure you're ready to defend yourself, right?
Yeah.
Be ready to do what you need to do if it comes to that, right? Thomas said, hello, Jeff. Which advice would you give to clients when a dog is, quote unquote, jealous of the owner? My dog even cries when she sees me with another dog. For me, I see as a separation anxiety. I'm trying to crate train her. What do you think?
So I think, I don't believe it's jealousy, but I understand what that word, what it means, and I'll use that word too, just because everybody knows what that means. So if you're petting another dog and your dog whines, you can actually correct your dog for whining.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people will think, oh, that'll make it worse, but it won't make it worse, because you're addressing the behavior. I don't agree with your whining.
Yeah.
I want the whining to stop. So what you're doing is you're telling the owner that you're telling the dog that, like, I don't like that, and they stop. It's funny how they all of a sudden just stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a couple of dogs, and this is the newest one, and she's the youngest, and she's all rambunctious. And I told him, yep, that's just about it. I want to kind of change gears a little bit and talk about your seminars and the two things I think that you do that are great. You have your seminars that you do all over the country, and you also have T3. Tell people a little bit about your seminars, because I think this is incredibly awesome. I mean, you travel all over the world. You've done seminars everywhere, and it's a tremendous experience. Tell everybody about the seminars.
So I mean, I'll be in Anchorage, Alaska. If anybody wants to come up to Anchorage, Alaska this weekend, I'll be there.
Yeah.
So so I do something called Jeff Gellman seminars. Jeff Gellman seminars. That's a 2-day problem-solving seminar. So those focused, again, the whole seminar is how to solve problems, and it's all pretty much you learn. Yeah, there we go. There's Anchorage, Alaska, right there.
Yep.
Yep.
You got Anchorage.
If anybody from Brazil wants to come to Las Vegas, that'll be a good time.
Oh, look at right here, Vegas.
Yes.
You got stuff all over up to 2020. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff here.
Yeah, we started our 2020 calendar. It's not even close to complete. We're doing about 25 of those a year.
Wow, that's incredible. And there's video here, and it's pretty awesome stuff.
So those are problem solving. There's about 20 dogs that go to those, upwards towards like sometimes up to 60 people. It's 2 days. A lot of Q&A, but a lot of hands-on. People bring me dogs that are dog aggressive, human aggressive. It's mostly for how to stop bad behavior. That's pretty much the whole weekend. So
and it's all day, Saturday and Sunday, right? All day hands-on.
Yep, all hands-on, and I'll show you everything. I'll show you how to bonk, show you how to correct. We show you how to correct, for resource guarding, for counter surfing. Pretty much it's all on how to apply a punisher. Pretty much that's the whole weekend.
Yep.
So I almost want to call it the punishment tour, because
imagine that, the punishment tour.
Get t-shirts made with the cities on the back and the date. Just like a 1980s musical band, right? But those are very rewarding, because you have people with dogs that have been struggling for so long. And again, the human factor, and it's also nice to meet people that I've seen online for so many years.
Yeah.
So we have super fans that are like, we interact with them multiple times a week, and I finally meet them in person. So,
Mary said I took my little dog to one, and it was great. Look at that.
Oh, Mary. Oh, Mary. Yeah. Hi, Mary. How are you?
So I really love that your seminar series are so hands-on based, right? Because a lot of people go to a bunch of seminars, there's a bunch of theory stuff, and a lot of times they don't get to work with their own dogs. And I love that you get to work with everybody, their own dogs, and by the second day everybody's working, and it looks fantastic. I love it. I love the idea.
It's a lot of fun, and it's funny because there's 20 dogs all in the same room from the very beginning.
Yep, from the start, right?
From the start, and within 15 minutes, they're all quiet.
That's incredible. I mean, I saw one of your videos recently. I think it was on Instagram, and you're showing everybody how to calm the dogs in a crate, and you're showing the remote collar. I mean, you just literally jump right into work. Like everybody came in, let's start working right now. Let's get these dogs calmed down.
I can't start the seminar until the room is quiet.
Yeah.
So you immediately have to be quiet.
It's awesome.
So the dogs do well. The dogs do well. Let me just
go while you do it. Let me show. I'll show everybody here the website and how they can find out about. This is a little bit of a video that you guys can see right here.
Dog, it might try to bite Jeff, and we're like, good, that's why you're coming. These are people that have been told from 4 or 5 trainers, from their vet, from their family, kill your dog. Quit killing your dog. Now I'm like, what's your problem? What's your dog's issue? Oh, great, bring it up. I'm going to stop the pain right now. Day 1, we work with every dog, and we make some really great progress. Pulling dogs, boom, they're not pulling anymore. Jumping dogs, they're not jumping. A dog that doesn't know how to sit or down or place, we got that covered. And we work with aggressive dogs. I work them on muzzle, I work them off muzzle. If my kids are traveling with me, we'll have the kids there helping out. After day 1, 90% of the people have said, it's already worth it. And I don't leave anybody hanging. This is the issue with your dog. This is why. This is what I want you to do. Hands-on, we show you. And then, when you go home, this is your homework. You do this, you do this, you do this. Where do you live? Great, let me find a trainer in your area that I know and I trust and I'm going to send you to. Another great benefit of this is just my family. This weekend right now, the kids are going, they've gone horseback riding, they're jumping on hay bales, they went ATVing, they went fishing, and we get to see the United States. We get to travel everywhere. If you're struggling with your dog.
This is awesome. I love this little video.
Yeah. Oh, that's Uma. That was taken. That video was taken, I think, 1 week before she died.
Who? Uma?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. That was in Texas, and we went out to San Diego, and she had to get some surgery in San Diego, and it didn't go. The surgery was, I guess, okay. She ended up dying with like a week after that video. She died.
I remember when she died. I remember you talked about her, and boy, it seems like it was yesterday, right? It's been so long, right?
Yeah, it's been I think 3 years, maybe 4 years now. Yeah. So yeah, because the kids don't travel with me anymore. So.
I know.
Yeah.
I was looking at the video. I mean, you see they're all grown up. Angela is so much bigger. Like all your kids are so much bigger right now. I actually want to get into that. I was watching one of your oldest videos the other day. I think it was posted like 11 years ago. Yeah. And I think, Clover was a little tiny, and then there was another one when Romeo was a little baby. And I was thinking, man, this is so awesome that we're living in an era that we can document things and you can actually go back and watch all that stuff. And and you can see the progress, your family, your dogs, how you grew as a person, as a trainer, as a business owner. And I know you got a whole bunch of other ventures. You're not just a dog trainer. I mean, you're a business owner. You do a whole bunch of stuff.
I'm a business owner now. Right now, I'm a business owner. So, and that's funny because a lot of people that's one more thing to hate me about is like, oh, he's a business owner. And I'm like, you're all business owners.
Yep.
You have. Somebody asked me the other day, like about a facility, and I said, my facility costs $40,000 a month.
Yeah.
A month. So if you want to translate that into Brazilian dollars,
in Brazil, it will be about 120,000 in
okay.
our money.
So that means the first $500,000 in sales that we do, I have zero profit.
Yep.
So when people say he only cares about money, it's like, well, yeah, if I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's not me, that's me, I still haven't made one penny yet.
Yep.
That's covering all my payroll, all my expenses, taxes, insurance, the heat, the air conditioning, like everything. $500,000, then I can start making money.
Yep.
So, of course, I need to make a lot of money.
Yep.
So, but there's a difference between sales. Business people need to know this. When you start your own business, sales and profit are very far away from each other.
Yeah.
So you can do $1 million in sales and be broke.
Yes, absolutely.
And have no money. Or you can do $150,000 in sales and have $100,000 at the end of the year. So I think that tends to get turned around in this industry. That and then we also have to remember that it's a voluntary transaction business we're in, meaning if I'm doing really well financially, that means I've helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
That means people pay me for a service.
Yeah.
People pay me to attend a seminar. So, and they do it all voluntarily. Nobody is forced to do it. Like the government, you have to pay the tax.
Yep.
So
I think it ties into one thing that I want to touch on before you go is prosperity issues. A lot of dog trainers have conflict with that. When it comes to how much should I charge, like there's a mantra here in Brazil that if it's a rescue dog, you should do it for free, or you should charge less, or why are you charging that much? Why is your seminar so expensive? Or talk to people about that a little bit, because I think you're really gonna help them, because people have that struggle. They don't know how much to charge, and it makes their feelings and their emotions. Or if you really love the dog, why would you do this, or would you charge that? So touch a little bit on that, Jeff.
Well, number one, I don't want to be poor. Let's just get right off the bat. And if anybody else wants to be poor out there, that's fine. You be poor. I don't want to struggle.
Yep.
I've struggled most of my life. Nobody's ever given me any money. So I don't have a wealthy inheritance. I didn't start out with money in the bank. So I've had to earn every dime that I've ever had. So, and I've done that through hard work.
Yeah.
I think people feel bad. They love training dogs. They feel bad now charging for that information.
Yeah.
Now, I can cook, but I bet you there's some Brazilian dishes out there that I would love to eat, but I don't know how to make. But I bet you your average Brazilian person knows how to make it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Good night.
Hey, Angelo.
You say good night to Raquel? Say good night. Say hello, Brazil.
Good night.
I'm talking to Brazil.
Hello, Angelo.
You're so tired. Angelo, it's 9:30. He was at a party today. So.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah. So I think that people are like, so a good example is if there was a person if it was a person that says, oh, Jeff, I'll show you how to make all this food. Fine. How much do I have to pay you?
Yeah.
Like, they say you don't. I say, okay, but I will. So if you said, now I have to say, what's it worth to me?
Yeah.
What's it worth? So if they say $5, of course it's worth $5. But if they say it's $100, then I would have to say, okay, so is it worth it for me to learn how to make this dish that I love $100 so that I can make this dish forever? Maybe, maybe not. Now, I think there's plenty of people out there that would pay $100.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people out there that would never pay $5.
Yep.
So, and I can probably go onto YouTube and find out how to make it for free.
Yep.
So I think as a dog trainer, you have to feel comfortable charging what you're worth. So a lot of people don't think they're worth much.
Yeah.
Because they were told they weren't worth much, maybe by a partner, their parents, a boss, a teacher, society. So they don't have a lot of self-esteem. They don't think they're worth anything, and they have a hard time charging it. Or it becomes very easy to them, so they feel bad charging something that feels easy for them. So, but it's easy for you, but it's hard for your client.
Yeah.
And that's what you're being paid for. You're being paid for your knowledge.
Yeah.
You're being paid for your information. And chances are it might have taken you months or years to learn that information.
Yep.
That's what you're being paid for. So, I think at the beginning you can charge free or low prices, but then once you start getting better, you can start increasing your prices. But you can make a very good living as a dog trainer.
Yep. And you don't have to be afraid, I think, to to establish. It's about self-worth too, right? As much as you develop your skills and you become better and you put out good work and you put out content, free content, and all that stuff. I mean, at one point, it's a business. It has to sustain itself, right?
It's a business, and I also think a lot of people will say, well, the other trainers charge this amount of money. I have no idea how much dog trainers charge in where I am.
Yep.
I have no idea. I don't know how much they charge because it doesn't matter what they charge. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I've only had one person say, "Why do you charge that price when so and so charges that price?" And I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'm not going to convince you to pay the money.
Yeah.
So that's why we put all of our prices on our website.
Yeah.
So they're right there. They're right there. So obviously, if you're calling me up and you want to hire me, you know how much the price is.
Yeah. And I say this all the time because this is another thing that a lot of trainers have a hard time with. Like, a lot of people don't put their prices on their website because, and they're like, "Oh, let them call me." I said, "No, I don't want nobody to call me unless they know exactly how much this is going to cost." Because once you get that out of the way, boom, you're in business and you're talking, then you move forward. But then you have to you have to have that conversation all the time. What's the point?
Think about you as a buyer. If you're a dog trainer and you're having a hard time putting your prices on your website, think of yourself as a consumer.
Yep.
Don't you want to know how much something is before you even pick up the phone?
Yep.
How many of you out there want to pick up the phone and ask? Nobody wants to.
Yep. Nobody.
I want to know how much it is before I pick up the phone.
Yep.
So now, if I need my whole house painted, okay, somebody has to come out, they've got to see, they have to get an estimate. I understand that. But what if I buy an airline ticket? I want to know how much it is.
Yep.
Food in a restaurant. If I want to go to, get a trainer for physical fitness, hire a lawyer. I want to know how much it is because I don't want to waste your time.
Yep.
I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and we talk a lot about this here, and I think we're starting to gear up into more people understanding that message, especially in the social media area, in the internet area. I mean, I know I haven't been, when I grew up, none of that stuff existed. I know you didn't. You went through the same thing. I mean, 10 years ago, there was none of that. Even for dog trainers, all of us, we had to do everything different. And today, it's so easy, so much easier. So I want tell people a little bit about, the whole engagement thing you have on all social media. And I mean, this is how I found you. So I think it's a great thing to explore these days.
I hate to sound old, but it's so easy to be successful right now.
Yeah.
So, I think when I had my other businesses, we didn't have social media.
Yeah.
We used to have to send out mail, like physical, like mail.
Yeah. The letter, paper, all wrapped up, everything.
Yes. I used to go to people's doors and stick things in their doors, and how could I ever do a seminar in another state? How would they know who I am?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think now with social media, in a way you have it easy. It's hard work, but it's easier because you can get to know me before you meet me.
Yeah.
So you can get to know me before you meet me because of social media. So all of a sudden the world gets really small.
Yeah.
The world gets really, really small. So I think a lot of people are afraid of social media. And to me, you should be putting out so much free content every day. We don't put out enough. I don't put out enough.
Yeah, I know I don't put out enough. I know I should be doing more.
Yeah. It's like we need more people to help us put out more. So that's the problem, is like we have the content, but we don't have the people to keep putting it out. So, there's so many people need help out there. You should be utilizing those platforms, and don't hold anything back. But if a great way to get business, before it used to be word of mouth.
Yeah.
Who's a good dog trainer in town?
Yeah.
But now it doesn't work that way. It still does. I mean, it still does. But we live in a society now where people move in and out of cities so often, so frequently, that they want to be able to go online and look at it for themselves. Yeah. They want to see the prices. They want to see you. So they want to see you, who you are. They want to interact. So I mean, I think by doing if you're not doing social media, it's a disservice to your business. It's free. Also, it's free.
Yeah, it's all free. All of it.
It's all free. Now you can do paid to make more people see it, but everything is free. There's no way could I do this before. So you can write a book and put it on the internet, and people can read it.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that before.
Yeah. It's a wonderful time. I mean, if you know how to take advantage of that, and if you know how to balance your time, especially like for people like me, I'm a one-person business. I do everything. So I have to arrange my schedule so I can see clients, take care of my own dogs, do my own thing in my life, and do my social media and do all that stuff. So you can balance things out. But I think it's so important to be on it, because it makes such a difference. Everybody has one thing in their hands all day, and this is it. It's a phone. Yep. And if you're not there for people to find you, you're gonna make your job real hard. So make it easy on yourself, right? I think it changes the game. Now, just before you go, Jeff, tell everybody about T3. I think it's a wonderful thing that you do with Sean and Tori.
So T3, it's train the trainers, and it's designed for people that are either thinking about getting into dog training, or they just started dog training. So it's for very beginning dog training. So it's 1 week, and it's probably it's 50% not dog training.
Yeah.
So only because there's so much more. It's social media and business and clients, but a lot of personal growth. A lot of personal growth. That surprises people. That really surprises people. So we go through. I mean, people. It's a very emotional week, because people have transformations there. What's holding you back from being successful? What's holding you back from leaving that job? And And then obviously there's dog training, and Tori does a lot of the training. It's really great because if you've seen her videos, you can see that her training is for, she works with some challenging dogs, don't get me wrong, but a lot of her training is for dogs that new dog trainers should also be working with.
Yeah.
A little easier dogs. She does some behavior modification. She stays away from hardcore aggression. So it's really nice to have her there because she leads the training at the actual seminar. So we do have to go over like how to stop some unwanted behaviors, but we don't address aggression.
Yeah.
Because we don't want trainers working with aggressive dogs.
Yeah.
Yep. So we don't address that. So it's for new or people thinking about becoming a dog trainer. But even if you don't, just all the personal growth and all the social media and the business, boy, we've had people that have just said, I'm not even going to become a dog trainer, but this is going to help me with my business.
Yeah, I've seen some of the people that went to T3. Some of them are dog trainers. I mean, it's awesome how they flourish. Really, like they came out and they took all that information and they put it in their business, and it's really incredible. And Sean and Tori are amazing people, amazing trainers.
They really are.
Yeah.
And people have to also remember though that it's just 1 week.
Yeah.
So 1 week doesn't make you a dog trainer.
Yep.
Like 1 year doesn't make you a dog trainer.
Yeah.
So it's all this is it's most people's first step.
Yeah.
It's a first step. So I think it's important that people realize. Well, people call me up all the time and they'll say, "Oh, do you have any T3 graduates in my area?" And I'll say, what you really want to know is, do I know of a good dog trainer in your area?
Right.
Because nobody comes out of T3 a good or great dog trainer.
Yep.
That's not what it is. It's 1 week. So there's people that go to 6-month schools.
Yeah.
And they still are not, well, they should be good, but they're still going to struggle a lot. They're still going to struggle a lot. So I think that it's important that people also understand what the purpose of the seminar is. Going back to what we talked about that earlier about you're going there to get a good head start, to help you start something.
Yeah.
Help you start something.
And I think it's a goal for, I usually, some people ask me here about my seminars. They say, "Oh, I'm going to be ready." I say, "I don't know you. I don't know anything. The seminar is not supposed to, in 2 or 3 or 4 days make you ready. It's just supposed to give you information and get you started. You have to take it from there, right? Everybody takes it from there in a different way. So we never know."
But I think there's no, people have to still realize it's hard work no matter what. There's no easy way. Now, the seminar, we help you not make a lot of mistakes, and that's mostly in business. How to make not your typical business. So that saves you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because we tell you about all the mistakes that we made, so now you don't have to make them.
Yeah.
So people that are afraid of social media, we help them with that. But the biggest thing is people are just afraid.
Yeah. People are afraid. That is true.
They're afraid. We're living in a time of fear right now. And especially about being judged by others.
Oh yeah, here, oh my gosh. I mean, people are so scared of everything. Even in friendly conversations, people are so scared of disagreeing or having a different opinion. And this is what I love about the idea of T3, watching you and Sean and Tori and some of the people that came out of that program, and how it makes such a big difference. People need to hear that. And for some people, this is what they need. They need a program like that so they can come out and become better in whatever they choose to be, whether as a dog trainer or whatever they choose. But it's that personal growth. I love that about you. I know you talk a lot about that. You talk about it. Sean does too, and it's an incredible message. And I think this is what makes you guys so special. I think, at least to me, You guys are so incredible, and personal growth is amazing. Well, I know we've been overboard of the time. I know I've kept you way too long, but
yes.
Yeah, but I know you're busy. So Jeff, thank you so much. I mean,
Okay.
I can't express how much I appreciate you taking the time to doing this for me and for all these people here in Brazil. I hope we can have you here soon for a seminar. I'm working on a venue. I told you that it's kind of hard because we don't have a whole lot of venues for that, but I'll find one and we'll get you here. We'll get everybody
Okay.
in the same room, and it's going to be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Make sure to sub to Jeff's channel, Solid K9 Training. Subscribe to his channel. Click the bell for notifications so you check out all his Q&As every week. Okay? Thank you, guys. I'll see you
Thank you.
soon.
Bye-bye.